even remember when I did my last wrap-up video, which I'm really ashamed to say because I don't, like, was that like 4 or 3 months ago or something? I don't know. Here's what I've been reading these past few months. It actually looks like a lot now, but it's like collectively over the past 3 months. Sadly, in the month of May, and yeah, pretty much in the month of May, I read like 1 book because I was just so busy with school. I graduated, you guys. Oh my god. The whole month of June, I was away to visit my family. I actually read quite a bit, so yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself about that. Also just finished a book last night, which we'll talk about in a second. Without further ado, let's get into the books I've been reading. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the book that I, this morning, decided that I was gonna DNF because I have been reading it literally for the entire month of June. I have been reading it and I just, I really don't like this book. It's not what I thought it was gonna be, and you know, I've been trying to push through it and get to the end so that I can just fully review it, but you know what, I'm tired of forcing myself to read this book. Exquisite Captive by Heather Demetrios. I was super excited to start this book because it is a fantasy book that has to do with genies, and if you guys don't know what genies are, they're those little people, spirit things that live in the bottles, and when you rub it, they grant you 3 wishes. This story about genies is slightly different, and the first like 50 pages I really enjoyed it because, you know, it was very new. It's like a whole new world for me, but as I continued it, it just got worse and worse. If you can see here, I finished about this much and only have like 100 pages left, but I can't do it, you guys. I can't do it. Exquisite Captive follows, or actually takes place in 2 worlds. So there's Earth, and then there's the genie world. There's all different types of genies. Some are of higher power, some are like slaves. So the genie world is very complex, and there's like a war going on in the genie world, and not only that, but genies are coming to Earth and being captured and sold to humans. So like, it sounds really good, doesn't it, right? Going into this book, I was super excited because, like, does that plot not sound like super intriguing? When you first open the book, there's like a little page explaining the different types of genies and like their level and like what kind of powers they have and things like that before you even get into the book. So there's already kind of like a little reading material you have to learn before you get into the book because I found at many points it was really confusing, just like deciphering between different genies and remembering all of this kind of stuff, which normally isn't like hard for me, but for some reason in this book it was really kind of stressful, and I constantly had to like flip back to the front page just to remember everything. This is a high fantasy book, so there's gonna be a lot of world building, but like I said, I only have like 100 pages left, and it still feels like their world building, and I still don't feel like I fully understand what's going on in the whole world and just like all the different types of genies. It's just a lot they throw at you. The other thing was I really didn't like the characters in this book, and I really didn't like the relationships in this book. I felt like there is an abusive relationship going on, and like I said, I was trying to finish it to see if maybe it would end and they would totally clarify this whole abusive relationship in the book, but like I said, I just really can't finish it because it's so slow, you guys. For a fantasy book, it's so slow, and all of like the action scenes don't really feel like action scenes, and it's just overall kind of boring to me. It's too slow for me, so I'm sadly gonna DNF this one. On to the next book that I read that I don't know if I already talked about this one. I don't think so. That's just how long it's been since I did a wrap up. But you know what? I'm gonna talk about it again because it's from my favorite author and I love it. A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah Tomas. I have a whole book talk on this video, which is my very first book talk I ever did because this book was so amazing, and I just had to talk about it. I'm not gonna spend too much time because I can talk about this book and this series forever, but it was wonderful. It was a 10 out of 10 book. This was the highlight of my May, okay, with this book right here. It was amazing. The next book I read was a really popular one that I was just like super excited to read, and it didn't disappoint 100%. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Now this book, I have a love-hate relationship with, okay, because I finished the book in like 2 days. It was just oh my god, I was just addicted to reading it, okay? Caraval follows these two sisters. They live on a very small island. They lost their mother when they were really young, and they have been living with their father, who's very abusive. Once a year in this world that these two sisters live in, there is this magic show that comes around, and it's called Caraval, and it is like the closest thing to real magic that you will ever experience. One of the sisters in this book, since she was very little, has written letters to Legend, who is like the magic master behind Caraval, the person who created the whole thing. He's like this mystery man that you never see, you never meet, but he's the one behind all of this crazy magic. She has been writing to him since she was little, you know, begging him to let her come to Caraval, to come to where she lives, to come to her island and just perform, because she's just always wanted to go to Caraval. She is almost an adult now, and she's about to be married off, and she writes her final legend, or her final letter to Legend, saying, you know, this is my last letter. I'd really love to go to Caraval. And for the first time ever, he writes back inviting both her and her sister to come and attend Caraval on this other island, and it's an invite-only Caraval. The year before, the Caraval hadn't performed because someone had died during Caraval, which is like, there's like a kind of darkness to this also. One of the sisters, once they get to Caraval, ends up getting kidnapped, and it becomes a part of the whole game. Our main character, she has to follow and find different clues to find her sister before it's too late. As the days progress, it starts feeling more and more real and less like a game, and it just, there's this whole dark element that's kind of twisted into this book that I absolutely love, because I love darkness. The plot was absolutely amazing. Like, every chapter was just like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Magic and mystery and suspense, and you don't know if something is real or if it's just a game in this book. Plot was 10 of 10. Now the characters. Okay, our main character, I really didn't like her. She was just like, there was definitely insta-love in this book. Let me just put this out there. There was definitely insta-love, which I really didn't like because it was like super insta-lovey, which, you know, like I said, I could look past because the plot was awesome. But our main character, I really didn't like. She just kind of was like a character who, I don't know, just constantly made just like bad decisions. Our main guy character, he kept doing things that were just kind of just rude and mean to our female main character, but our female main character kind of looked past some of the things that he did and fell in love with him, even though she only knew him for like 3 days. He like a 5 out of, okay, I'm gonna give this book a 6 out of 10 because the plot, like I said, was just amazing. The characters, I'm taking off 4 points just because of the characters. Next book I read, which was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun, and I just like laughed my guts out when reading this book. Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. Oh my god. And I just like, after I finished Caraval, I was like, I cannot go into a reading slump. I need to read something else immediately, and I picked up this book because it just looked like a fun read, and it absolutely was a fun read. But the Daughter of the Pirate King follows our main character. She is the daughter of a pirate king, and she is sent on this mission to purposely be kidnapped by an enemy pirate ship so that she can sneak on board and find this piece of a map that her father wants. This book was just so much fun. Our main character, unlike in Caraval, is just like this badass. She's like the female, she's like a female Jack Sparrow is like what I can compare her character to. She's incredibly funny, super smart, super cunning. She knows how to use a sword, and she's just like one of the best pirates out there, and is like not intimidated by the male pirates at all. This book, majority of the book, she's being held hostage, so there's a lot of dialogue in this book between her and, you know, certain male main character. The dialogue was so funny, you guys. Like, her comebacks and just like the whole babble back and forth is 10 of 10. If you want something that'll get you out of a reading slump, if you're in a reading slump right now and you want something that's like fast-paced, easy to read. Also magic in this book too, which I did not expect at all, so, you know, there's a little bit of magic for all my magic lovers out there. Next 2 books were so amazing, you guys. They have made it into my top 5 favorite books of all time list. Every Heart a Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. I don't even know where to start with these books. Every Heart a Doorway, let me just tell you what this book is about, but let me also tell you that these books are so much darker and so much deeper, and I connected to them so much more than I thought that I would, just based off the excerpt on the back and just based off, like, you know, other people's reviews. Like, let me tell you, if you are someone who is like a fan of Maggie Stiefvater, like that's like the only author I can compare her to, that sort of like kind of darker magic writer, then I highly recommend these books to you, okay? Because like I cried at the end of these books, and these are the best short, I don't know, short novels, short stories. They're under 200 pages, you guys, okay? And they're better than some 600-page books that I have read. But just, it follows these kids that have come back, okay, from these worlds that they really just fit in and belonged in, and now have to come back to this world where they never really fit in and belonged in. And it was just like so heart-wrenching. Like Shannon McGuire, like her writing is just like, it hits you, and like I was able to relate in a sense that, like, you know, that feeling of like living in a book versus like living in real life more often, because I know us readers, we're always living in books, and that's what, like, I don't know how to describe this. Like, I'm describing this terribly, but let me just tell you, Shannon McGuire's writing, I read this book in one sitting, the first book in one sitting, and I was just like, I was really scared going into this book because I was like, it's so short, like I'm afraid that I'm gonna finish it and feel like it wasn't enough, but it didn't feel like that, you guys. Like, so much happens in this like 180 pages, but it doesn't, nothing feels rushed, nothing feels like, you know, it doesn't feel like there's anything missing from both of her stories, the first book and the second book. These books, just like, I highlighted so much, like so many quotes from this book because they were just so powerful. And like I said, these books, like on a surface level, is, you know, just kind of like a simple story, but like on a deeper level, if you were able to kind of feel that when you're reading it, it just, wow, it like really hits you. So anyways, the second book recently came out. I was so happy when I found out that the first book wasn't a standalone. I went to Twitter after I finished this and I'm like, oh my god, what do I do with my life? This book was amazing, and it was like only 180 pages and it's a standalone. And one of you guys commented like, Naya, chill, there's another book coming out. It's like a novella sequel to this one, and it comes before this one. Down Among the Sticks and Bones follows two characters that we meet in this book, and their story before they came to this, you know, home for children that have come back from other worlds. Last book, which I haven't finished yet, but is kind of a novella bind-up, so I can kind of count it as like a read book a little. I read the first two novellas in Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I didn't bring my physical copy of this book when I went on to visit my family back in Hawaii, but I did get the audiobook, and the audiobook was amazing. But like, I don't know what it is about me, but like I have a hard time remembering things unless I read them, so I kept forgetting stuff that was happening while I was listening to it, and so I just ended up stop reading it until I could come back and get the physical copy. But I finished the first two books, and my goal is to finish the rest of them soon and read Lord of Shadows, which I'm so behind on. So far, it is super awesome. I love reading from Simon's perspective. He's so funny. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep reading. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!